me, Raymond. Have you ever killed anyone?
No, ma'am.
He could not do more to harm this country than he's doing now.
You tell him sorry, Buster. The ball game is over.
The Manchurian Candidate is the 67th best film of all time, ranked by the American Film Institute. In addition to the film overview, I'll explain how the mother in this movie is a contender for the worst mom in film history, how an onset injury set in motion Clint Eastwood to star as Dirty Harry 8 years later, and discuss whether someone can actually be brainwashed into becoming an assassin. Oh, and at the end is a clip of The Simpsons parodying this movie. I'll explain all this and if the movie The Manchurian Candidate is worthy of watching for your movie night. Let's get into it. The Manchurian Candidate was released in 1962. It is a political thriller directed by John Frankenheimer and based on the 1959 novel by Richard Condon. The story follows Raymond Shaw, played by Lawrence Harvey, a decorated Korean War hero who returns to the United States after being held as a prisoner of war. Unbeknownst to Shaw, he and his fellow soldiers were brainwashed by communist agents during their captivity, turning Shaw into an unwitting assassin. By the way, the scene where the soldiers are brainwashed is, in my opinion, one of the great scenes in film history. And I'll explain why in a moment. Major Bennett Marco, played by Frank Sinatra, one of Shaw's fellow soldiers, begins to experience disturbing nightmares about their time in captivity. As Marco investigates, he uncovers a sinister brainwashing plot and realizes that Shaw has been programmed to assassinate the presidential candidate. Central to the plot is Raymond Shaw's mother, Eleanor Iselin, played by Angela Lansbury, a manipulative and power-hungry woman who uses her son as a pawn in her political ambitions. Her relationship with Shaw is complex and disturbing, contributing to the film's tension and psychological depth. This is clear from the very beginning, as when Shaw walks off the plane to a returning war hero's welcome early in the movie, his mother immediately uses him for political gain even before she greets him. The film is renowned for its suspenseful and innovative storytelling, particularly the unsettling brainwashing sequences and climactic assassination attempt. Angela Lansbury's performance as the cold and calculating Eleanor Iselin is particularly notable, earning her critical acclaim. There were three things in this movie that really grabbed my attention and really wouldn't let go for the duration of the film. First is the brainwashing sequence. This scene is captivating and horrifying, and in my opinion, one of the greatest scenes in film history. Secondly is the mother, Eleanor Iselin, quite possibly the worst mother in film. And I was shocked to find out that she was even worse in the book. In fact, she was so terrible in the book that the directors refused to include a certain scene in the movie. I'll get to that. Thirdly is the assassination, and how many people point to RFK's assassination as proof that the Manchurian Candidate revealed the truth that a man can be brainwashed into assassinating someone. First, let's discuss the brainwashing. The scene where Shaw and his comrades are brainwashed is, in my opinion, the best scene in the film, and one of the great film scenes, period. It happens early in the film, about at the 12-minute mark. The scene starts with the soldiers sitting in on a discussion in a garden club, entitled Fun with Hydrangeas. Riveting, I know. The camera starts to slowly pan the room, showcasing the flowers, the hotel lobby, and lots of old white ladies, listening to a talk about hydrangeas. Apparently, the speech given on hydrangeas was copied verbatim from a contemporary seed catalog. Once the camera has rotated 360 degrees and returned to the starting point, it shows that the soldiers are no longer in a hotel lobby listening to a garden club drivel on about hydrangeas, but they are now in a lyceum surrounded by Russian and Chinese communists who are witnessing the display of brainwashed soldiers. The camera continues to pan, showing the soldiers back in the hotel lobby listening to the same hydrangea talk. However, this time all of the ladies are black, as the viewpoint has switched to Corporal Melvin's viewpoint, who was a black man. At this point, the scene begins to mix and match the three similar scenes to the communists speaking in the hotel lobby, to the garden club ladies speaking in the lyceum, and so on. It just mixes back and forth. It's bewildering, trippy, and the whole scene made me sit straight up in my chair. And it continues to amaze me each time I've watched this movie, particularly since knowing it came out in the early 60s. This brainwashing sequence was shot 3 times in full, each from a different perspective. The garden club ladies, Corporal Alan Melvin's viewpoint, and the communist captors. Each perspective was filmed against different sets that allow the camera to rotate completely around, and these parts were then meticulously edited together to seamlessly convey the shifting perspectives. Frank Sinatra was a demanding actor. Well, he was simply demanding in general. I mean, he has a whole song about doing it his way, but regardless. For this film, he demanded that all of his scenes be shot and completed in the first 15 days of filming, and that he was to be shown every piece of footage he was in before he left the set. Directors Frankenheimer and Axelrod agreed to this, except for showing him the brainwashing scene, as it wasn't edited yet and would take some time to edit. Sinatra did not accept this and insisted that he see all the scenes. To appease him, Axelrod and his editor cut the scene quickly in order to show Sinatra, and ended up leaving the scene as it was. How they cut it for Sinatra is how we see it today. This was an epic creative scene that surprised and shocked me. The tameness of the Guardian Club that sharply contrasts with the actions that the communists forced the brainwashed soldiers to take at the end of the scene really sets the stage for the rest of the film. It set the stage for myself as the viewer. The Manchurian Candidate really goes hard with the scene at the beginning of the movie, letting the viewer know that they are in for a wild ride. This scene was particularly horrifying to audiences at the time, as the film was released in the middle of the Cold War in 1962 and played on audiences' fears of something like this happening in real life. In a moment, I'll discuss the conspiracy of whether or not this idea of brainwashing a person to become an assassin is possible or not, with the backdrop of Ciaran, Robert F. Kennedy's convicted assassin. This leads me to Eleanor Iselin, played by Angela Lansbury, who won the Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress for her performance. Miss Lansbury herself has said that this was her greatest performance. As horrible a mother as she is in this film, I learned that she was even worse in the book. In fact, the directors didn't dare add into the film some of her actions. However, they did put in a hint in one particular scene. I'll get to that in a moment. In an incredible cast, including Frank Sinatra, who arguably gave his best performance in this film, Lawrence Harvey and Janet Leigh, Lansbury's character, Eleanor Iselin, commands each scene she is in. Side note, this is a very attractive cast. Lawrence Harvey is a handsome guy. Janet Leigh is simply stunning, and also Leslie Parrish, who plays Harvey Shaw's girlfriend, is, as they would say in the early 60s, a knockout. Oh, and Frank Sinatra was there as well. Anyway, Eleanor Iselin is the manipulative and power-hungry mother to Raymond Shaw. Her husband, Raymond's stepfather, is a senator running for vice president of the United States, but Eleanor is the one pulling the political strings, while he simply follows her lead and cowers to her frequent rebukes. Her focus on political posturing comes first before her son, and this is seen early in the movie as she uses her son's return from war as a hero as a chance to gain political favor as soon as he steps off the plane before she even greets him. Throughout the film, she controls everything she can about her son and husband in the most manipulative and conniving way, both in their public and private lives. I won't give details in order to avoid spoilers, but with her actions, attitude, and hairstyle, she reminds me of Ursula from The Little Mermaid. I'm not sure if you see that, but anyway. Throughout the movie, my distaste and disdain for Eleanor Iselin grows as she shows how horrible a mother she is by her actions and deviancy toward her son Raymond. Imagine a mom so manipulative, she makes Lady Macbeth look like a saint. However, she was much worse than I originally thought. In the original story from the book, there is a particular scene where she takes advantage of her son, who is brainwashed, to engage in physical relations that he does not agree to. I'm grateful that the directors decided not to include the scene. However, they did include a brief, distasteful kiss between the two that was a direct reference to the gross act of incest in the book. The directors instructed Angela Lansbury to cover the kiss with her hand to make it past the censors. Eleanor Iselin is truly repugnant and a worthy candidate for worst mom in film history. This leads us to the final part of the film, the assassination. The Chinese and Russian communists brainwashed Raymond Shaw for the explicit purpose of assassinating the presidential candidate. The movie starts with a bang with this brainwashing scene and culminates in a tense, nail-biting leading up to the end scene, the scene where the assassination of the candidate is to take place. Now, I'm committed to reviewing these top 100 films without major spoilers, so I'll only say it was a finale worthy of the rest of the film leading up to it. I was on the edge of my seat throughout and was left thoroughly satisfied with the movie's end from an entertainment perspective. After the movie ends, the viewer's natural thought is, can this actually happen? A lot of folks believe the answer is yes, and some of the reasons are as follows. In 1975, Project MK Ultra was revealed. Project MK Ultra was an illegal human experiments program designed and undertaken by the CIA to develop procedures and identify drugs that could be used during interrogations to weaken individuals and force confessions through brainwashing and psychological torture. The project began in 1953 and was halted in 1973. Preceding Project MK Ultra was Project Artichoke. Initially called Project Bluebird, Project Artichoke was officially established on August 20th, 1951, and operated by the CIA's Office of Scientific Intelligence. The primary objective of Project Artichoke was to investigate whether a person could be coerced into attempting an assassination. Additionally, the project explored the effects of hypnosis, forced morphine addiction, and withdrawal, various chemicals, including LSD, to induce amnesia and other vulnerable states in subjects.
If only they had brainwashed people using a Richard Simmons workout video. People would be happier and would be more fit and not trying to assassinate people. They could have called it Project Sweating to the Oldies. Anyway.
So this leads us to the same question that the original audience of the Manchurian Candidate asked themselves in 1962. Can someone be brainwashed into becoming an assassin? Well, there are a growing number of folks that point to Robert F. Kennedy's assassination and his convicted murderer, Saran as a prime example of this being more truth than fiction. You can find a wealth of information online and from newspapers at the time that make a convincing argument, including the British mentalist and TV producer Darren Brown, who for his TV show challenges himself to brainwash a simple-minded man to assassinate Stephen Fry. The basis for this TV episode was Saran, claiming to have been brainwashed into his actions to murder Robert F. Kennedy. You can watch the full episode of Darren Brown's attempt on YouTube. I recommend a double feature. First, you should watch The Manchurian Candidate, and then go watch Darren Brown's The Assassin with Stephen Fry on Darren Brown's YouTube channel. It's highly entertaining. However, some contend that Saran was not the murderer of Robert F. Kennedy at all, including RFK's son, RFK Jr. This is what he said in his interview with Vlad TV.
I don't believe that Sirhan's bullets ever hit my father.
All of this to say is that the brainwashing scene and the whole idea of a non-consenting assassin put forth by the Manchurian Candidate is a gripping, thought-provoking, and wonderful piece of film that surpasses the screen. So, is the Manchurian Candidate worth watching on movie night? I instantly say yes. However, there is one reason why you may not want to. But first, a few miscellaneous fun facts. The first one is ridiculous. Frank Sinatra broke his hand while filming his fight sequence in this film, and due to time restrictions, the need to keep filming, and old Blue Eye's hard-headedness, he did not take the time to have the bones properly set and heal. This caused him discomfort for the rest of his life, but more interestingly, he was cast 8 years later as Dirty Harry under the director William Friedkin. However, Sinatra's injured hand was unable to properly hold a gun, and the project was scrapped, with Friedkin going on to film a little movie called The French Connection, and Clint Eastwood becoming the iconic face of Dirty Harry. It's just as well, in my opinion. I really don't think Sinatra and Friedkin would have gotten along. Friedkin is known to be disparaging of his actors in order to get better performances out of them, and has even resorted to slapping actors in the face, while Frank Sinatra was a notoriously demanding actor who wanted everything his way or the highway. So I'm not too sure how well those two would have played with each other. The beautiful Janet Leigh plays the role of Frank Sinatra's character's love interest in The Manchurian Candidate. Ironically, her husband, Tony Curtis, served her divorce papers right before they shot the scene where she and Sinatra's character meet. Frank Sinatra owned the plane that Senator Iselin used in the film. The budget for the film was $2.2 million. Frank Sinatra was paid $1 million. Lawrence Harvey was paid $200,000, leaving only $1 million for the rest. This movie almost never was. Chief of Studio Arthur Kim initially denied the movie being made, as it was irresponsible and too incendiary. Frank Sinatra took the matter to his personal friend, John F. Kennedy, who Frank Sinatra had raised significant monies for in his campaign. JFK was a fan of the book and made a call to Arthur Krim, who relented and gave the go-ahead. Now, on to why you may not want to watch this film. So I greatly enjoy this film, and I do think it is very much worthy to watch on movie night. So what is the one reason why you may not want to watch it? The runtime is 2 hours long, which isn't a problem. It goes by very quickly. However, there is a good chance that upon finishing the movie, you will be driven to read and watch hours of content on projects MK Ultra and Artichoke, listen to interviews with RFK Jr., read coroner's reports, and much more. The Manchurian Candidate can lead you down a rabbit hole of Cold War conspiracies and CIA experiments, and the reason to not watch this film is that it may lead to a giant time suck. I personally have spent hours reading articles and listening to interviews. It's very interesting and entertaining, but it is a giant time suck. The last Top 100 film we watched was about a farting musical genius who clowns the teacher, while the next Top 100 movie we watched is a Disney movie that is not at all, in my opinion, suitable for children. It includes torture scenes, nudity, and red demon nipples. Oh my. Yes, I said red demon nipples. Subscribe and click the bell to find out what film that is whenever I post it. If you found this video interesting, please like and comment what you found most interesting. I try to improve each video that I make. Here are The Simpsons with a parody on The Manchurian Candidate. Thank you for watching.
It's time, Bart. Time to blow up the clown.
Time to blow up the clown.
Go, blow.
Now, my little hypno-assassin, your cue to attack will be when Krusty says, "I've never had such a great audience."